The number sequence of 432, according to various researchers, has been with humanity since the very beginning of time, and actually, the sequence could be how time is perceived by humans. The vibration of a wave in this sequence of 432 cycles would be seen as the metronome to musicians. For example, in Joseph Campbell's The Inner Reaches of Outer Space, he writes about the similarity between the Babylonian and the Genesis flood stories. In the Babylonian or Sumerian story, there were 10 kings who lived very long lives, from creation to the time of the flood. You can observe from this table that the sum number of years of the kings has the sequence of 432. This is amazing on itself, but if you compare with the biblical Genesis and some deduction, we definitely can find similarities. In the biblical account, there were 10 patriarchs between Adam and Noah, who also lived long lives. Noah was 600 years old at the time of the landing of the ark. The total years add up to 1,656. In 1,656 years, there are 86,400 weeks, and half of that number is 43,200. The 432 sequence is present in the Genesis stories as well. There are myths about cycles in time and out of time, so this doubling/halving is not uncommon. Joseph Campbell believed that someone carefully gave the age of Noah to secretly hide the time cycle number. If we drive ourselves to other ancient texts, we can find the same sequence of numbers. A good example is the Viking Eddas that were found in Iceland. These writings tell the story of the day of Ragnarok, the doomsday of the gods. At that time, 800 divine warriors will come out of each of the 540 doors of Valhalla. If you multiply 800 with 540, you're left with 432,000, the same number as the total of years of the 10 kings of Babylon. According to science, a trained athlete's heart beats 1 time each second. In a 24-hour day, that is 86,400 beats. And of course, half of that is what? 43,200. The 432 sequence must be magical, because around this sequence, we find so much of coincidence that forces us to call them synchronicities. But all of those synchronicities are from books that we cannot validate if stories are real or not. A scientific mind will always try to prove something instead of believing in coincidences. My research on this topic led me to one of the most famous personalities of modern science, Nikola Tesla, mainly because the sum of the numbers 432 are equal to 9, and Tesla was obsessed with this number. Nikola Tesla did countless mysterious experiments, but he was a whole other mystery on his own. Almost all genius minds have a certain obsession. Nikola Tesla had this obsession about this number. He was walking around the block repeatedly for 3 times before entering a building. He would clean his plates with 18 napkins. He lived in hotel rooms only with a number divisible by 3. He would make calculations about things in his immediate environment to make sure that the result is divisible by 3, and base his choices upon the results. He would do everything in sets of 3. Some say he had OCD, others say he was just very superstitious. However, the truth is a lot deeper. If you knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, you would have the key to the universe, he said. His obsession was not simply with numbers, but especially with these numbers, 3, 6, and 9. He did have an extreme case of OCD, and he was superstitious. However, he chose those numbers for a reason. Tesla claimed that these numbers were extremely important, but nobody listened. He even calculated nodal points around the planet linked to the numbers 3, 6, and 9. First, we must understand that we did not create mathematics, we discovered it. It's the universal language. No matter where you are in the universe, 1 plus 2 will always equal to 3. Everything in the universe obeys to the law of mathematics. There are patterns that naturally occur in the universe, patterns that we discovered in life, like the shape of some shells or some flowers, and almost all of natural systems mirror these patterns. Some of these patterns are linked with the golden ratio and sacred geometry. One really important system that nature seems to obey is the powers of 2, also called binary system, in which the patterns start from 1 and continues by doubling the numbers. Cells and embryos develop following this sacred pattern: 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. Some call these patterns the blueprint of God. In vortex mathematics, or what we call the science of the anatomy of the toroidal fields, there is a pattern that repeats itself: 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, and 5, and so on. It is obvious that the 3, 6, and the 9 are not in this pattern. Scientist Marco Rodin believes these numbers represent a vector from the 3rd to the 4th dimension, which he calls a flux field. This field is supposed to be a higher dimensional energy that influences the energy circuit of the other 6 points. Randy Powell, a student of Marco Rodin, says that this is the secret key to free energy, something which we all know Tesla mastered.